How do mountains form? So let's talk about the highest points in these three places. So in West Virginia, the highest point is Spruce Knob, which is in Pendleton County, and it stands at 4,863 feet tall. In America, the highest point is Mount McKinley, which is in Alaska. It stands at 20,310 feet tall. And in the world, the highest point is, we shall find that out later. So, Earth has four layers: the inner core, the outer core, the mantle, and the crust. The inner core is solid. It is made up of the elements silver and nickel and is 5,400 degrees Celsius or 9,752 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, this is almost as hot as the sun. The outer core is liquid. It is made up of nickel and silver as well, and it is heated by something called radioactive decay, which is done through the elements called uranium and thorium. Now, currents in this layer, in the outer core, generate a magnetic field. So this is kind of like the North Pole and the South Pole, except not where Santa lives. It's just the magnetic North Pole and the magnetic South Pole. And this field reverses every 20,000 to 30,000 years. The mantle is semi-solid. So it's not fully liquid and it's not fully solid, but it's somewhere in the middle. And it's made up of iron, magnesium, and silicon. It circulates like the outer core, but it does so a lot more slowly. And pieces of the mantle are made up of diamond. The outermost area is similar to the crust, and this area is called the lithosphere. The crust is broken down into pieces called tectonic plates. So they move 3 to 5 centimeters a year, which is slower than the amount of time it takes for our fingernails to grow. These tectonic plates slide on the lithosphere. So this is what a map of the tectonic plates looks like. You'll see here it's the North American plate, and then the South American plate, and so on and so forth. So when these plates slide against each other or towards each other, it creates things like mountains and volcanoes and valleys and all, and like earthquakes and stuff. So when two plates go, and this is land plates, so when two plates on land are heading towards each other, they go up and boom, form a mountain. But when you have an oceanic crust and a continental crust, the oceanic crust is actually more dense than the continental crust. That's why it goes underneath the continental crust. So density is mass divided by volume. Mass is how much stuff there is in an object, and volume is how much space it takes up. So it goes underneath, and it forms a volcano. And this here, the molten rock wells up, and it erupts from the volcanoes. So now, let's talk about what the highest point in the world is. So that actually depends on where you are measuring this from. If you're measuring this from sea level to the top, the highest point in the world is Mount Everest. But there's also something we need to keep in mind. Earth is not a perfect sphere. If we take this into account, we will see that we will need to measure from Earth's center. And this is going to be Mount Chimborazo. The tip of Mount Chimborazo is the furthest thing from Earth's center, and it's even further than the tip of Mount Everest is. And the third way we can answer this is by looking at the base of a mountain to its peak. So Mauna Kea is actually a volcano, and from the base to the peak, it's 33,500 feet. So the highest point in the world could be any of these three things, depending on what you mean by that question. So in West Virginia, a big issue that has occurred is mountaintop removal. So this is when people remove the tops of mountains to use the material for things such as fossil fuels, because like there's a layer of coal on mountains, and so they use that for things for like energy in today's world. And this is very harmful to the environment. People who live close to places that have had mountaintop removal, like many areas in West Virginia, have had to deal with a lot of like contaminated water issues and like air pollution. And it's just very generally unhealthy for humans and animals and plants. And it's detrimental to Earth's environment. And that's how mountains are formed. Thank you for watching. Bye.